Michelle Graves, your host on The Power of Money, and I'm honored to have you as a part of my world in this coming segment. With The Power of Money, as you know, we are interested in three things. First, that you get the necessary education so that you and your family will have the information to do well in these difficult times. The second thing I'm interested in is for you to be empowered to prosper. I want only the best for you, but you can't get that if you don't have the education and then the drive to make it happen. And the final thing, and perhaps the most important thing, is that you be energized. Because life is more than a journey. Life is about living. And so I want you to learn these things and to be empowered and encouraged and energized. I'm Michelle Graves. Now here we go.
And welcome to today's segment of The Power of Money. I'm your host, Michelle Graves. And as you all know, for the last 30 years, I have been known throughout the United States as a money lady and been doing this show since 1982. And so I'm always delighted when you sit down and open up yourselves to learn, because information is everything today. In line with my commitment to move you beyond the world of just money, known as currency, into a more holistic approach to your life, which includes not just financial prosperity, but also, and more importantly, being in good health, having a positive attitude, and being able to leave a legacy for your children. Those are values that are very important to me, especially as I've grown older. So consistent with my commitment to you, which is I'm going to love you even if you don't love you, I have brought on another amazing guest for the next hour, Michael Taylor, who is the CEO of a food community. And he's also very, very well established as a naturopathic doctor. And so I'm going to be interviewing and talking to him about some unusual and unique subjects, namely the cells in your body. That's what keeps you going. And then we're going to go into his food cooperative and his commitment to healthy eating, healthy diet, and how you can be a part of this movement. Let me just say this before we go into this interview. Whether you believe it or not, we are in the midst of rapid change. And I'm saying to you that when I got on this bandwagon 20 years ago and said point blank, I'm not eating like that, I'm not doing that, I'm sorry, my family went into revolt, mom stopped cooking. I'm like, no, I'm eating veggies, I'm doing this and that. People were not on that page when I told them you cannot keep putting that stuff on your skin because it's toxic, it's going to make you sick. Now people are beginning to listen and the shift has begun. I want you to listen so that you too can begin to take care of yourself and that you can begin to eat properly and know where to go for information. So without any more conversation, I'm going to get into the breadth of this interview. And again, thank you for being a part of my world for the next hour. How are you, Michael?
I am good. Thank you very much.
I'm so delighted that you were able to come into the studio.
Yes, I appreciate the offer. And what you were just saying about the revolution coming, and when you were talking to your family and friends about eating more responsibly and taking responsibility for their own earth suit.
Yes, I like that term, earth suit.
Yes.
Yes.
So that's how I started off back in the 80s.
I thought I was in it. You were in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was, born at a very young age, and then I was in the mainstream, eating 10 chicken thighs at night one time, and
oh my goodness.
Lots of bowel problems and constipation, headaches, 3 to 5 days a week as a teenager.
As a teenager.
That's ridiculous. And I was weightlifting a little bit. Didn't put on a whole lot of weight. You didn't see my Mr. Universe contest
No,
pictures.
I did not.
Okay,
no,
okay.
I did not. Thank you.
So the life changed for me, though, when I had graduated from a Bible school in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And
good people out there.
there are, yeah. And a roommate said, "Hey, can you get back here?" had come back to Cincinnati and spent some time with the family, cutting wood and exercising, and my mom was fixing my food for me a lot of the time there, and she fixed lettuce and cottage cheese on top, and maybe a little pieces of fruit or something.
That was popular.
Yeah,
the cottage cheese and pineapple,
Yeah,
and the iceberg lettuce.
that was the summer of 1985.
Oh my goodness!
And I said, "Mom, what are you doing? I'm working like 13 hours a day out here. I'm losing weight because I need protein." And
Okay.
a couple of months later, I changed to a mostly vegan diet.
Okay.
So I did
So for the benefit of our viewers, what is a vegan diet?
well, it's no animal products.
Okay.
So even some vegans go with no honey, no products from insects, no eggs, no butter or milk or ghee or anything like that. Others say, like the founder of the one who coined the term vegan, said no, it includes eggs, butter, anything that doesn't harm the animal.
Okay.
So honey, it could be. Perhaps there's an argument for that if you don't take all the honey from the bees.
Right.
So that mostly I was eating a fresh and raw fruit and vegetable diet.
Okay.
But I had never drawn a line in the sand and said I will never eat meat, or I never. So I did in 17
God
years.
save the cows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the first 17 years, from 1985 to around 2003 or so, I ate meat maybe 10 times. I don't know, something like that.
Okay.
And,
Any type of meat, like are you talking about
well,
beef or
beef,
chicken or?
I did in 1995. I was 126 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
I had gone down to 117 at my low point.
God.
But that was too thin, yeah. And
Yeah.
I had bought into the idea. I didn't have enough money to go to the doctor and consult with this doctor that was teaching about these things. But I was operating under the principle of, oh well, the bad cells are going to, the toxic cells are going to be dumped out
and disappear.
Yeah, and then I'll have better, healthier cells. And had I consulted with the doctor a little bit more, I think I would have been on some egg yolks, eggs, and maybe some fish or something like that, because
for the protein.
I did hear about Dr. Robert O. Young. Many people have maybe heard of One Sickness, One Disease, One Cure, and Sick and Tired was another book that he wrote. He's been on Good Morning America.
Okay.
And,
Dr. Young.
Dr. Robert Young, yeah.
Okay.
And Interlight International is one of the company that he started, and then he sold that. But I heard about him at my first health expo in 1995, and
1995.
yeah, so
My goodness.
long time ago.
Yes, it is. Yes,
Yes,
it
dearie.
is. Yeah. No, you look great. I'm serious. I want to ask your age, but you look great.
Yeah, I'm 29.
You're 29, and I'm 10.
Yeah, there
Why
you
not?
go. No, I'm 53, so I was born in '64, and I then in 1995 was 126 pounds or 128,
Whoa.
and heard about not eating so much fruit because I had a lot of fruit in my diet, more the Fit for Life kind of a program.
Okay.
That was a popular book back in the 80s for
Okay.
fresh and raw diet and eating lots of fruits and vegetables, mostly fresh and raw. So I did that and had lost a lot of weight, but I could weight lift about 80% of what I could lift when I was 169 pounds and in high school.
Yes.
And I could run, and I've enjoyed something that we talked about in the green room. The mitochondria was not overburdened in my cells.
Okay, now you got to tell our viewers what that
Yes.
is, because that's what you do.
So the mitochondria are the energy factories in the cells. And as I was weightlifting in high school, I was eating 10 chicken thighs at night and an equal amount of rice, lots of food. I'd have a big Dream Whip bowl. I don't know what size that bowl is. That was
It's big.
cereal, yeah, large. And then 3 eggs
Okay.
and 3 or 4 pieces of toast. All of that for breakfast in high
Okay.
school. I'd have 3 or 4 sandwiches on wheat bread for lunch. And still I couldn't get over 170 pounds. 169 pounds was my
Okay.
max. And weightlifting, a couple hours a day, 5 days
Okay.
a day, a week. But the energy factories of mitochondria in all of your muscle cells, you have the energy producers, and they turn the sugar into ATP, which is the unit of measure of energy in our bodies. And I found that I seemed limited. I was overburdened. I had a lot of toxins in my cells as a teenager. Hence, I had headaches and other such things. But as I changed my diet, I cleared the burden of the cellular load, and I could run a lot more easily, weightlift longer. So I was 40 pounds lighter than I had been, but I could still weightlift.
That your
quite a
energy
bit.
was more efficient.
It was more efficient.
Yeah.
I didn't max out. So I look at how we do training, and you know, today people are doing marathons
Yep.
and triathlons and other such things, and they don't connect the toxic burden that they put on their bodies through various things that we eat in restaurants or in the mainstream culture, which is changing quite a bit for the better.
I'm so glad.
Yes.
Because people are dying like nobody's business.
Yeah, well, the truth, you can't really hide it.
No, you can't. Not at the
So-
point you're at a funeral.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many people that are dying today, all ages, all races, all demographics. They're in boxes.
yeah.
It's
Even before that,
Yeah,
you know, dying's the easy part.
isn't it? Because it's over.
Right.
But the sickness,
The sickness is
the
hard
ongoing
part.
to never get better.
And when you're a teenager,
yeah.
a 20-ager, a 30-ager, and you're bleeding when you go to the bathroom,
Yeah,
that is unacceptable. That's not good.
unacceptable. But yet, Mike, and I know you've been in this industry, and I don't want to get off topic. Something has to give.
That does, yeah.
I mean, now we're into opioids. And how'd they get strung out on that? Because their doctor wrote them painkillers.
Right.
So now we're into what is happening here?
Right.
I'm serious.
Yes.
I mean, really.
We have pain remedies that one can use with, there's one of my mentors was Agenus Vonderplanitz. So look him up, you'll see he's kind of out there. But he's the Primal Diet founder and promoter of eating raw meats and raw fruits and vegetables too, but some very limited on fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
And more meat and fat and,
Okay.
and proteins. But he had been in a he was in Thailand and had a big Harley or some big motorcycle.
yeah.
And 5 tourists walked across him, and he, oh no, I'm going to kill 2 or 3 people. Threw his bike to the ground, but when he did, he broke his leg, popped it out of joint, and had a lot of problems. So it was a lot of pain.
Yes.
And he slept in the bathtub with water, so he's like elevated, and took care of himself at home basically, or in his apartment there, and had a couple of nurses that he had paid to help care for him. But he used a coconut cream as a pain remedy.
Wow.
Coconut and other cream. So he's doing
Right.
butter, but a lot of coconut cream, and the pain formulas that he put together were highly fat-rich,
I would think the fat.
and
No
that
acid.
heals
Yes,
the
yes.
cells up,
Yes.
and also it's carrying away toxins. So you've got a lot of trauma in an injury like that. You've got a lot of broken cells and things that need to be thrown out of the body, even
So
if
how
it's a
does
clean
the body do it? Through elimination?
Well,
I mean, you
all
know,
the excretory channels.
I was
you
going
know.
to say you've got a ton of
Breathing.
things, not a ton of things, but you do have defined areas where the body can push stuff out
Right.
if it's clean.
Right.
If it's
well,
backed
it
up.
always is, really.
Okay, really?
Yeah, I mean, you can have a whole lot of garbage waiting for the liver to be processing.
Okay.
It's waiting, but the liver's still processing.
It's still so at what point does it stop?
Well,
Overload?
Yeah, you can overload it, but it's always trying to work.
To clean.
And
Isn't that something
it
about the
is.
human?
It is.
It's always trying to clean you
Strive
up.
for life, yeah.
Strive to lie. It doesn't want to die. It doesn't want to be sick.
Right.
It really doesn't. I wonder if we have a minute. Can we look at some of the research and information that Mike has done on the blood cells? Can we show that?
There we
Okay,
go.
there we go. There we go.
So we see inside your world, inside you is another living world. And that's what I started to learn about in 1995 when I
Okay.
met Dr. Young. I had just completed a course in live and dry blood microscopy. So we prick the finger like you do much for a blood sugar test.
Yep.
You know, just a little, not even a drop of blood. And look at that blood under the microscope. So then we put it out to the TV monitor so you can see that. And if we go to the next slide,
Okay, can we
you'll
go to the
see-
next slide? Yeah.
You'll see the live blood. So this is, there's three different ways that we use in this microscopy to look at the blood. Well, it's phase contrast. So this is a way where it was invented in the late 50s, where the light comes in from an angle and it creates these shadows of gray
Okay.
that we see here in the slide. And you see this blood is, oh, we're over here. Okay. The blood is, these cells are nice and round. They're all even sizes. And
And
so
healthy?
they're
Okay.
healthy and they're
Okay.
separated.
Okay.
And so we're looking at about 50 different factors in the live blood. And in the center of that picture, there's a neutrophil or a white blood cell. And there's 26 different kinds of white blood cells.
26 different types of
Only
white.
one kind of red blood cell.
Okay, but
so
lots of the white cells, and their job is to what?
clean up the body, to ingest toxic, not toxic organisms, but organisms, protein particles that may be causing allergies and other responses in your body, to phagocytize them and to digest them.
To
and
eat them.
Eat them up
Eat
and
them.
make them usable in other ways or dispose of them through the lymphatic system. So
Well, let me just stop because I'm like many of my viewers, unless you're a doctor, this is all, and I'm a biochemist by training, but again, this is good information. So you have 26 different white cells whose
Right.
job and function is to eliminate toxins from the red cells,
from the body
from the body.
overall. yeah.
Okay, not
So
just the red cells, but
some of the white blood cells can go in so if this is a blood vessel, it can go in the blood vessel, but it can also go out
really.
into the interstitial spaces and help clean up things.
Oh my goodness!
So
So how do we? So you discovered this? You got on
No,
this?
well,
okay.
that's common knowledge, but I was trained in the blood microscopy.
Okay.
So the microscopy is looking at the arterial blood
Okay.
by breaking some capillaries in the finger, and we look at that without squeezing the finger. We put it on a clean slide and cover slip
And look at it.
Look at that under the microscope, and you can see things like what we just showed, and the white blood cells will move around unless you had some sugar, and it might paralyze them for 3 to 6 hours.
Wait a minute. Sugar will paralyze white cells.
White blood cells.
White
yeah,
blood.
The ones that move.
Yeah, the ones that move to keep you healthy.
Part of the 26. Not all of the
Not
26.
all of them, but
yeah.
that's still bad information. When I say that,
Yeah.
I don't know if viewers, if you knew that ingesting sugar, which is high fructose oil, cane sugar, brown sugar, would paralyze your cells.
Yeah, it could even be fruit juices.
Fruit, because
roll-ups,
fruit
maybe.
roll-ups because of the fructose.
Because of the fructose, which is much more, it goes into your bloodstream a lot more quickly.
So it goes into
absorbed.
your bloodstream
more quickly.
faster than grain sugar,
Right.
but
Well, then other sugars. There's 8
Okay.
different kinds of major sugars, but that we use in our bodies. But those are the imbalance, basically, is what is of concern, and that brings us back to the food production and how food is designed to be sold, and it's actual food chemists. I met a food chemist up in Minneapolis area, and another food chemist had introduced me to her friend, a food chemist, and he mentioned, well, yeah, I was talking to some other friends, and 4 of them had just started working for this company, and the guidelines were, well, we want you to design some very great tasting food.
tasting.
Get people addicted to our food.
Yeah.
Just don't kill them
Don't kill them immediately.
immediately.
But
So,
incrementally,
yes.
no, I lost a very dear friend of mine, Kay Young, who was a food chemist, very well known nationally, and if you went into her home, you would say this can't be a food chemist because she grew everything.
Yeah.
She just was an amazing person. But she said, but you know, Michelle, I got to pay the bills.
Yeah.
And she said, but there's no way, knowing what I know, I would ever do anything differently than what I'm doing, which is she grew everything and processed her own stuff because she said their commitment was to make their food addictive so that you couldn't stop eating.
That's right.
Because I think about potato chips.
Oh, yes.
Oh my goodness, there are people that are potato chip addicts and they can't stop. And a potato chip is nothing but what?
Carbohydrate complex. It's a carbohydrate complexity of salt and sugars,
Yeah.
basically.
And
So-
keeps you eating the whole
If
bag
you
and then
put a
bag number
little
2.
additives on there.
Yeah, for flavor.
Yes.
Because I just heard coming to the studio this morning a very large potato chip company. It's got 2 new flavors that are going to be introduced at the end of the month. And I listened to that and I was like, the government does not require a manufacturer to say what's in the flavor.
Right.
Kay told me that. She said, well, I'll
Yeah.
tell you what's in there. I said, she said, we don't have to. And we're not going to do what we don't have to do. And
That's
we're not
right.
required to do it. Isn't that something?
Especially if it's going to be bad for marketing.
Exactly.
I mean, so the laws are set up with big business in bed with big government
Yes.
to make things appropriate that squish
And in the
the little guy.
meantime, we are dealing with a mass national epidemic of diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity, the middle pot belly. So I tell people I shouldn't do it, but I do it. I'm looking at you, looking at me with your pot belly. And I want to say, if you stop eating all that stuff, your body wouldn't look like that.
Right.
But that's hard when they're addicted. Is that fair?
That's right. It's the what do you do when you've made the choice to buy those potato chips, to buy that white bread or whatever breads, to buy the various foods, but behind that is someone making that is designing to get you addicted, and you don't know that.
Well,
Designing
viewers,
that food.
you know now. Put those potato chips and sour cream away.
Mostly everything with a label.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
My trips to the grocery store are very narrow, toilet tissue and things like that, but I don't even go near that other.
Yeah.
Because I'm just paranoid. I guess I'm just paranoid.
This conversation is a little bit dated, or this mindset is a little bit dated, because there are people now, because of the assaults on the body so long in this industrialized
Yes.
food system, which is new. It's only 70, 80 years old.
That is new.
So we've now got children that are not able to put up with that food. And with
boy.
vaccines and other things that are interacting with the food issues, So people are demanding that there's gluten-free and other
And
factors.
that it be on the label.
But why should we have such an intense response to glutens? And
Yep.
it's because we're not caring for our gut. We don't have sauerkraut anymore. If you do have sauerkraut, it's a fake sauerkraut that's imitation made with vinegar or something. And
Yeah.
and in other words, it doesn't have the live probiotics in it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have the prebiotics. So our diets are deficient of what sustains a naturally healthy population. And we're demanding some of that now, and the truth is coming out. So we do see some things changing. So that's encouraging. But we are in a place of epidemic chronic degenerative diseases.
Oh, God.
And that's what has motivated me for how long?
Well,
What year is this?
Well, this is
2018?
2018, but I wanted to rewind because you said in 1995 you talked about Dr. Young and your interface, and also I want to go back to those
Those slides?
slides.
Yeah,
I want to
let's
deal.
put that back
Can Ben? Can we go back to the third slide where it talked about a healthy blood cell versus a sick?
Yeah, there's the third one.
That's the third
So there
one.
we're
yeah.
going with the dry blood is different than the live blood, of course. So
Okay.
this is just taking a slide and picking up 8 layers of blood from that drop,
Uh-huh.
two-thirds
One
of a
little
drop,
drop. Mm.
on a slide then, and you have scabs, basically, round because you've
Mm-hmm. Flattened
touched down
it,
like that. And so we have 1 to 8 on there, and here's some from maybe layer 2 or 3 of various people that had cancer, that had bowel diseases, bowel problems, not even before diseases are known, diagnosed. The dry blood can help to point out the oxidative stress that's going on
In the body.
in the body in various
there a slide
locations.
on that?
That's what this is.
Okay, fine.
So we've got 6 of them here. If we go to we'll go to live blood if we go to the next one. But you see
Okay.
so right here we have a little bit of, well, we're not supposed to say it's yeast, but that's,
It is what it is.
you're only supposed to say that upon autopsy. You
Okay,
can't,
after you're dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a small white sac there just to the lower left of
Mm-hmm.
the, I can't point to, I can't point to it. The, in the bottom you see a red blood cell that is crinkled. It's not smooth. And
What does that mean?
that is a cell that is broken down, the fatty acids, the lipid. So the red blood cell is 48.5% lipid. And when that starts to break down, it's oxidized. So we have a spiky morphology or a pattern in there's free radical damage on those.
So that's why
on
it's
that
wavy
membrane.
like that.
Right. The word I was looking for is membrane. So on the membrane of the red blood cell it's no longer smooth like it's supposed to be. It doesn't have the electrical charges it's supposed to have. So it's starting to physically break down after so much free
Stress.
radical damage. And
That is caused
stress.
by. Well, I
So-
must insert just in here when we talk about fatty and lipids and the research I have done for almost more than 15 years of my life, and I had identified the one oil that, in fact, because it is so fatty, the cells absorb this, and that oil, for you all that know me, is the pure, unrefined shea butter from West Africa. And I can say that without any shame, I've been using it for 15 years on my body because the skin is the largest organ, lots of epithelial cells, and the mitochondria love it.
That's right.
They love it, and it keeps you alive and youthful. But again, as I share with people, this is where you are today. If women would stop putting horrible things on their skin for the sake of beauty, and I want to tell them, but you're not going to be beautiful. You keep putting that stuff on your poor little cells, they're gonna, like your
Shrivel
little,
up
they're
and-
gonna shrivel up.
Yes.
And you're going to be looking at a very different, unpleasant feature.
That's right.
Have you found anything to validate what I found?
Definitely. That's why I was excited when I met you.
Yeah.
You know, you were
Yeah.
talking about the shea butter, and then the more I learned about that,
Yeah, amazing.
it's amazing that all the shea butters that you were searching for already had fungus in them.
I couldn't believe it.
The way they harvest
The way they harvest them, they were so, and I would tell people without question that 99% of the shea butter that is sold out here, including in health stores,
Yeah.
is contaminated.
Yeah.
Because they don't understand the necessity of purity when you're dealing with oils.
And that's something that was brought out by Robert Young in 1995. Not on shea butter,
No,
but
no, no, but
on
in general.
bread
Yes,
and other
yes,
things. You know,
yes.
so you're eating yeast bread, and I
Oh,
think he didn't
boy.
see the whole picture there. But I don't know how he's changed since then. But eating the bread can increase the yeast overgrowth in a body.
Oh, my
is what we were
goodness.
talking about back then. And when you're eating foods that have molds or fungus in them,
Oh my gosh.
that can get loose in your body, basically. And fortunately, we have a garbage disposal system called the immune system, and these white blood cells through the lymphatic system, which is just as extensive as the circulatory system.
I'm so grateful for that one.
Yeah,
Thank you,
it will
God.
help clean up, but we
Yes.
can overload that system, all of these systems, overload the grace that God has given us in the mercy, the backup systems. We can overload it when we don't have the proper nutrition coming in to nourish the body,
Okay.
and we have toxins coming in that are more than the toxins that we produce through natural just moving.
Right, right.
We have toxic buildup because of metabolic waste. It's natural. It's why you're supposed to have antioxidants coming in to neutralize those poisons that are made through muscle movement, through exercise and all that.
And that is
then properly-
important.
yeah, and you need to make those toxins.
Yes, that's
To
what I
live.
tell folks. You
So-
you were set to make these things. Exercise
Right.
is incredibly healthy
Yes.
and life sustaining.
And if you do it, you actually eliminate toxins more efficiently.
I totally agree.
So
we're
you-
singing to the choir. So
Yeah.
in 1995, going back to that,
Okay.
you made that transition.
Right.
And let's talk about that.
Well, I made the transition from a mostly vegan, fresh and raw kind of diet, eating a lot of fruit, to eating a lot more vegetables. And then I started having salmon like 2 to 6 times a month.
Okay, fresh
And
water.
So that was maybe I would have some egg yolks.
Okay, raw or
A couple of raw egg yolks
Okay,
a day,
okay.
maybe sometimes. But that was mostly, it was the raw vegetables and
Okay.
drinking vegetable juices and hearing to Robert Young talking about cutting out the sugar, cutting out the yeast, cutting. So I wasn't having bread and very much, and I wasn't having a lot of sugar like I had been before. And when I did the tests on my blood,
Yes, I was going to ask, what happened?
I learned about that. My first class was June of 1995.
Okay.
And at the end of July is when I met Robert Young. So for a couple of months, I sat next, in my class, for a couple of months I was questioning why this thing happened. I sat next to an obese chiropractor who was also in the class.
Okay.
And we
That
tested
seems
her.
like an obese chiropractor.
An obese chiropractor.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay,
there's
it can
a few of
happen.
those, yeah.
Yeah.
So he pricked his finger. He had just gotten back from having some hamburgers and French fries at one of the local fast
Yeah,
food joints.
yeah.
And I had brought my own, and I had my own bananas or whatever I had. I don't remember, but his blood looked good. We saw the fat particles
Yes,
in there and
yes,
all that.
yes.
It had some
Yes.
products of leaky gut and other things perhaps in there. But it looked healthier than mine because mine had fungus. If we put that back up.
Yes. Can we
The-
put that screen back up? there?
On the blood.
Yes,
yeah.
thank you.
So this little white ball there in the middle, not around the red blood cells, to the left of the crinkled one, my blood had a lot of that. And what's above on the center, there's some white things around the
clustering.
clustering above the red
yeah,
blood cell there. So that's a fungal body there. And if you
That
flip
is
through, go
actually
into the
the
next one.
fungus
Those are fungi, yeah.
in your
In
blood.
your blood.
Jeez.
So I saw this. I saw some white blood cells. We have some fungus to the left of the white blood cell. The white blood cells are 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 times larger than a red blood cell. So
Okay.
that's moving around in this picture here and
But your
cleaning up.
fungi are there as well.
You're not supposed to have any fungus in your blood,
Whoa.
so they say. So blood is sterile. Then why do
so
we
how
have
do
to
you have
put, why we
yeah.
all this protective stuff? then?
Yeah, yeah.
So let's go to the next slide then.
Okay, can we go
And,
to the next one? Okay.
Here we have a eosinophil. So these are cells that are active with allergies. And when we have the allergy response, we've got a lot of proteins in the blood system.
Okay.
Like these fungi, they're out in the bloodstream, but proteins, undigested proteins that came in from eating or from breathing. And basically, so yeah, you can see my hands here. They're not together. There's some holes in the membrane here. If this is
Okay.
a membrane of your mucous membranes on your lungs for breathing in,
Okay.
if you have holes like that in like a lattice structure, there's going to be undigested or particles, protein particles, pollens, and other such things that come through, and then are a burden to the body. They're in the bloodstream, and in the gut they can get in there as well. That's what basically is the foundation of an allergy weakness.
Okay.
Is you've got holes in your connective tissue of the lungs or the gut. And so as you eat things or as you breathe, you're taking in particles that are not they're supposed to be blocked because there's no, it's
I
just
see.
pores,
Right.
no holes
Right.
in the membrane there.
So let me ask
So people
you.
call that leaky gut.
That's leaky gut, but okay,
yeah.
okay. And what would your professional recommendation be other than the dietary component, which is stay away from your breads and your carbs and any forms of sugar unless it's naturally occurring?
Well, this is what was confusing and confounding to me because
Okay.
I was a fresh and raw vegan. I
And
was
here
the
this
healthiest guy,
tubby
right?
guy, yeah.
Yeah, so he's
Yeah.
he's healthier than I am with his blood, the live
So
and
what
the
did
dry
that
blood.
tell you?
So I had all this fungus among us in our body.
Fungus among us.
But they're eating sugar
Okay.
and they're giving back toxins called mycotoxins. So alcohols, aldehydes, acetates are made in your body. People could have formaldehyde made in your body while you're alive. You know, formaldehyde is what put into
yes, it's
the
a
cadaver
binder. Yeah,
after you
it's a
die.
binder.
You know, that,
Yep,
that keeps the
Very-
body so you can have a funeral a few weeks later or
Yes,
whatever.
yes.
But that preserves us. And an interesting thing in Vietnam War,
Yeah.
we had all these American guys that were dying, and next to the Vietnamese guys. The Vietnamese guys, they're both killed in the morning. By evening, the Vietnamese guys would be stinking, the body decomposing.
Okay, rapidly.
But the American guys would take 3 days
Oh my
because of
goodness.
the Coke, because
Preserved.
of all the preservatives.
Preserved.
Yes.
Yes, preserved. Preserved.
And that, do you remember in the late 90s hearing on the radio some like shock jock kind of news kind of thing of people being in the car and bursting into flames? Spontaneous.
Yeah, but that kind of quashed.
They don't talk about it.
No,
I'm like,
I still believe people are
yeah,
exploding.
spontaneously.
Yeah, because you've got, frankly, if you drink most of the sodas, you know you've got basically the same chemical component as antifreeze inside of you.
Right.
It's got to explode, give the right heat conditions. Boom. I tell people you need to stop that.
Yeah.
Just
so-
drink some good water.
I mean, that's an extreme, and there's
It is, but
during the genetic the genome project,
Yes,
of
right,
analyzing
right,
what kind
right.
of genes are in us and what kind of bacteria, they were really They went into the project with, hey, the genes are like gears, and we're going to find the machinery of how things work and they're not working, and then we'll come up with a gene replacement or gene therapy and some drug or some component for allowing us to patent something that we can fix your body with. And then they found out in doing the analysis of the genome that it's not like a gear. It actually depends on the expression of the genes, depends on the environment. So our cellular environment controls the expression of these genes, and that developed the science of I was going to say epidemiology. No, the other word is the word that is the right one is epigenetics.
Yes,
so
which
on
I
the
love.
surface of epi is over, and epigenetics means that it's super or above the genes.
Okay.
So the environment, the thoughts that we have, the foods that we eat. So when we're getting back to the spontaneous combustion, that a body can go through, a living body is hard to burn.
Can you?
When you're making aldehydes and
But
acetates and all
that's
these
what I'm like. Your
combustible
body's into a production mode that is anti-life.
Yes.
And I do believe that when there are enough sick cells in your system, the body's going to fight to live.
Yes.
But I also believe there is a critical point, and don't ask me why it varies from person to person, where the cells give up the ghost. They just stop. They stop doing what their natural intent was, and they begin to move in an opposite direction. So you see a person that after many months of chemo and people think they're doing better, all of a sudden they do for a minute, but then you look around and they're finished.
Right.
They're
Right.
dead. And I
But
have.
they're healed
Oh,
from the chemo. Or from
they are
the cancer.
They are healed from the cancer because you were gone. Okay, so your cells did not disappoint you. They moved you on to another existence. But what got you into this food co-op thing?
Okay.
Okay.
So in seeing the lack of supply of what we need in our food, being supplied in the farming system, we don't have nutrient-dense foods. We don't have the education.
And the
that
term
we need about
nutrient
that.
dense means,
So
tell our audience.
when we have a strawberry, for example, it should be a Brix of 22. So that's a measure of the sugar and the solids that are in that, proteins and other such things. It should have certain amounts of minerals and other things, but let's just go with the Brix explanation right now. The strawberry should be 22. Most of the strawberries that you've ever tasted or eaten are below 12.
Below 12?
And they're more like 7.
Why?
Because the soil is not prepared properly. Soil is not just dirt. It's microbes, it's alive. It's a soil food web. So our farming methods have overlooked that and actually been chemical sales companies, models of marketing, our farming methods. So Earl Butz was Richard Nixon's.
I remember Earl Butz.
Do you?
That's how old I am. I do.
The agriculture secretary
Yeah.
in the late 60s and 70s. He said, "Get big or get out." And he would go, you're going to do the hogs, you're going to do the chickens, you're going to do the cows, you're going to do the corn to feed these guys and all that. So they're segregating, isolating the production systems.
For efficiency.
For efficiency.
And profit.
For supposed efficiency.
Yeah, right.
And supposed profit.
Right.
Because they're robbing from the reserve of the land to get a lot of money right now.
And bankrupting our future.
And bankrupting their grandchildren's future, yeah.
Well, I tell you, as I told you, I have my own garden. My flowers grow extraordinarily large, but I'm conscious of why. I tell people there's no secret. It's in the soil.
That's right.
And if you want nice big fat flowers, you better learn the art of blending fish heads. I mean, I know that sounds gross, but I do it.
To put into your garden.
To put into your
Yes.
garden, because plants love stinky fish heads. My grandmother taught me that. So I have huge everything in my
So
neighborhood.
why are they stinky?
My fish heads, I think from just the exposure to the sun. When I pour them, they're
Well,
not
what's
smelling.
making it stinky? It's bacteria.
It's bacteria breaking the
And
fish,
fungus and things.
breaking the fish heads down.
So you're actually putting microbes in there, which do the work of breaking the thing down.
Right.
And turn it. So when I do blood analysis, I talk about we have composers of life that take the vitamins, minerals, enzymes, protein, fatty acids, and water and turn it into this.
My
You know,
goodness.
the body.
Yes.
And so a higher formed organism. But when this body is disorganized and it can no longer go on like that, so a disorganized fish head in a blender is rather disorganized.
Yeah.
So the bacteria has a job to do.
Yes.
And it's a
gonna break,
decomposer.
and it's going to break it down.
So it
Thank you.
decomposes it and makes it available to the other microbes in the soil and then to the plants.
And they love it.
And they love it. Yeah.
I'm so serious, and I put other things in my soil, which I'm not going to share publicly, but just know that in my neighborhood, my plants, people stop.
to see how
Oh,
good
they're
they are.
so
Yeah.
huge. And I told them, they said, what did you do? And I said, just love them. Just love them and treat them well, but the same thing with the human body.
Right.
If we're not attentive to those things, now you do as a practitioner, you do the blood work.
Right, I do the blood work, do metabolic typing, and
For
other
people that are
clinical
having
assessments, right?
Okay, for people that are want to protect themselves, and for those who are also sick.
Right, right.
You do both sides, correct?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Give us your phone number real quick.
Well, it's 513-553-9868, and
Give it again.
513-553-9868, and you can reach me on email at michael@realfooddude.com, and that Real Food Dude will have some information on there for
Yeah.
getting in touch. And that the blood analysis is something that I've been doing since 1995, and there's a lot of voices out there that are doing blood analysis in a less than credible way.
I believe it.
So
I believe it.
there's I'm more of a skeptic, and so I was critically analyzing what I was being taught when I was sitting next to that heavy chiropractor.
Yes,
And,
who had great blood and
had
you did
good
not.
blood, yeah. And I was loaded with yeast and fungus, and
Gosh.
thought, how can
Gosh,
this
as a
be?
sidebar, and this is so important because people don't think about why the things you put on your skin are so important. If those things are contaminated, it goes right into your blood system.
The same,
I'm like, come on, people. Fungus is not a simple thing.
yeah.
Once it gets in your blood, wouldn't you agree it's tough to get out?
It is, and then you have to identify what's the vector. of
Right. How did
infection.
how did it get
it get
in?
there?
How did it get there?
So, sick building syndrome is something coming up. 20 years ago, the Cincinnati Health Department had to move out of their building because it was sick.
Oh,
So
my goodness.
I thought, oh, how
yeah.
oxymoronic.
Yeah.
So-
So with this, want to shift because, time is
Yes.
moving. I need to know what inspired you to set up this food cooperative, and what is your criteria for people being involved, and how can they get involved?
So we're assembling a different legal structure, which we like to use the word co-op, but that has an official meaning in the state of Ohio. And
Okay.
it's not a cooperative, but a private association where we can privately arrange with each other to have various contracts by which we can acquire raw milk, we can acquire eggs and meats and other such things that are processed, grown, and processed the way and stored and shipped the way that we want them. So where it means that the egg, for example, it has a microbial covering over it to protect it, because an egg shell, you know it's porous.
Yes.
That's how the chick breathes, right?
Yes, exactly.
So, this porous, nutrient-rich medium, the egg is one of the most nutrient-rich things, so it's got to be protected from all the bacteria and other things in the air coming in and infecting that. So we've got the process in industry, in the American side of things, is you're supposed to wash that off, that microbial layer off, and now expose it to all the air without its defense mechanism, and now that egg can be contaminated. And so in doing things like that, we wanted to get away from practices like that, be more agile, and as we learn new information, we can communicate that to our farmers and our supply chain, and then adapt to what is the healthiest way to get food. But also to know who's the farmer that raised this broccoli, who's the farmer that raised this cow, this sheep, or you know, produced the milk, the eggs, the chickens. And so we have an idea to connect that through transparency and to provide a format for people to actually like build their own farmers market and play in that role if they want to help build that system in their neighborhood, so that they can then connect for their own family, their own body, with farmers that are producing healthy foods, or manufacturers that are producing healthy foods, and be able to order things ethically, shea butter or whatever. You know, whether it's food or whether it's products that go on your body, or products that you clean your home with, or whatever. So
I think this is so powerful.
It is. We need to. We're doing a shift. A shift is occurring.
It is absolutely, because the fat I bought from you, yes, viewers, I make my own soap. You need to have clean fat, okay? That fat was phenomenal. No, the fat off of those cows, those organic cows, clean, no odor, no anything, just my soap. I'm not even going to sell it. I was, but I said, I'm keeping my soap. But I want to thank you for being a visionary, and for this community, which I do believe is going to grow. There are other groups that are doing this, but I liked your vision about every neighborhood being able to have a point person who they could buy these things from.
Right.
And that point person could also take care of their family. And that to me is so where we are. When they talk about make America great again, I'm like, well, let's start with this. Let's start with empowering our communities and people and their children, so that they will not be sick and can live a long, sustaining life. Give them your phone number again.
All right, it's Michael Taylor at 513-553-9868, and the email is michael@realfooddude.com, which you can also go to that website, realfooddude.com, to learn more information. So 513-553-9868. And what you were just saying about the having healthier children, having right now this chronic degenerative disease epidemic, even in the autism spectrum, we have many children. How are we to get children well?
Michael, that's another. I don't know. I don't know. It's so troubling.
It starts by not creating the problem.
And this is a problem that can be eradicated.
It is.
It is absolutely. The soil, it'll take time, but the soil can be remediated. But it's a consciousness that says, I will not continue down this path. And it is on that note that we conclude today's segment of The Power of Money with my guest, Michael Taylor, who's a naturopathic practitioner and a specialist in blood. And I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to have to do a blood analysis for me.
Alrighty.
I have to. I have to. I'm not afraid, viewers, to grow. And if it's going to help me and my family, I'm game. So on that note, I thank you for being a part of my world. And here's to good health for you in 2018 and moving forward. You take care. God bless you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.